Welcome to TLC, the live chat.
Oh, you guys, man, you have lost it.
All right, okay. Welcome to TLC, the live chat.
Where real talk meets real life. I'm Tina.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Cassie. Nothing's off limits. Expect deep chats, belly laughs, and a few wait, what moments.
It's unfiltered, unapologetic, and all heart. If you can do this, you've got this.
It's live. The time has come to learn more about Cassie, the C in TLC. So we're up here in the Caravan of Courage, which I think we need to know, on Lauren's property in Woodside at EcoPlay. Where do we start, Cassie?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
It's a long journey.
That is, yeah. Where to start? I guess how I probably want to start is that I've just been through one of the most intense experiences in my life and come out on the other side. And through that, there's obviously a huge passion that's arisen from that, and that's mental health and suicide prevention. So then backing right up from that, we're going to probably talk about my life a bit and my journey, and then how I've kind of got to this point and what it means to me. I'm not nervous. I just feel this is so intensely important to me. So it means a lot. So I want to not be guarded about what I say, but I want to be careful because it's so important. So we'll go back to the start. As a little girl, look, I'm going to say a lot that people probably have never heard about me. My kids, probably you guys. When I was a little girl, I felt always like I didn't belong. I'm not talking in a sense of I felt left out. I always remember very, very young feeling like I was in the wrong place, like not of this world. I know that sounds very weird.
Yeah.
But I always remember being confused. Like I didn't understand people. I didn't understand my life. I didn't get humans. It sounds very out there, but then you sort of go along, you go to school, you get indoctrinated into the matrix, whatever you want to call it. You get programmed, probably going a little bit too off tap right off the bat, but I can only explain it how I can explain it. You just become part of society, you know, and all the usual stuff. You have trials and tribulations like we all do. It was a difficult childhood. I had love, but I also had abuse. It was extremely intensely stressful. So I remember being in fight or flight from the earliest memory. And
probably never left fight or flight.
Fight or flight. Also, I just want to be very clear, this isn't a poor me, this isn't attention seeking. It will all make sense once I get through it all. I just need to obviously give some background to how we get to where I want to get to. Everybody has had stuff happen in their life. We all have stories. We all have things that happen that are extremely stressful and sad. I'm no different to anyone else. I'm not wanting to be or claiming to be.
I think that's the point of us talking about it, though, isn't it? Is so you can bring to light that many of us do have these trials and tribulations, and many of us are dealing with mental health issues.
Exactly.
That is actually the whole point of this episode.
Exactly. There's a strong saying, and I think about all the time, we're all fighting battles that no one sees.
Yeah.
You know, everyday life, we're all doing it. It's the dude that's road raging on the road. It's someone that's rude to you in a shop. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it okay, but, you know, I think in society and the way the world is at the moment, it's so pressurised and stressful that people are, you know, affected by so many different things. People have lost people. So anyway, getting back onto track. So I went through, did all the normal things as we all do, go to primary school, high school, you have family, we all have good family, some not so good family. We all go through life and have our ups and downs. I got married very young and had my first baby quite young. The best thing.
She was our baby. Our
true.
whole friend group's baby.
Yeah.
So I had to grow up really quickly. I had her when I was just on 19. Absolutely smitten. Best thing I ever did. I loved being a young mum, and I always have. Yeah, it was like it was meant to be. I would say definitely was meant to be. It wasn't an easy journey. Unfortunately, her father we didn't stay together very long. We were very young. Things happened. That sort of fell apart, and then Loz and I were on our own for a while. So, yeah, money was tight. We had to sell the house. There was lots of different factors. Stress. Probably then I realised that's when my depression started, but no one talked about it back then.
No, of course
not. No one really
not.
knew about it.
No label.
No, that's it. You don't talk about it. Moved through that, and we were on our own for a few years. Moved around a fair bit. Like I said, money was tight. You make ends meet, and I had wonderful friends and family that were so supportive. Then I met a wonderful man, an amazing man, through my brother actually. They were in the Navy together. Smitten. And Lauren was smitten too. And we got married, and my life just became basically a bit of a fairy tale. I was like, how can this be happening to me? He was amazing. He took her on as his own daughter, and everybody loved him. Lots of people.
We still do.
Yeah, we do love him.
Yeah. Everybody loves him. And I think you guys used to actually say, he's the boy version of you.
We did.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
we did.
It totally is.
We were like, we were like best friends, and just, it was just amazing. Anyway, we had 2 more children together, which was unreal. So we had 3 girls, and he got out of the Navy and a different career path, and that meant he would go away a lot overseas. Amazing career that he built. I also worked and brought up kids. Things happen through life, amazing things. Some things can be stressful. My second child was premature. Luckily, she wasn't outrageously premature, but she did have some difficulties at the time. And I think really that's when I had another really bad bout of depression after I had her, because it was very stressful at the time. We actually were living a little bit more remote. I had flying doctors fly us out.
Where were you then?
Port Lincoln.
Oh, you're Port Lincoln.
So we're 8 hours from Adelaide. I was having complications. We got flying doctors to the hospital. She was so tiny, they stopped my labour, tried to boost her with a lot of steroids, trying to grow the organs. Anyway, at the time, Brett had just got into diving, and he was basically, they retrenched him because Adelaide for a couple of weeks in hospital waiting for her to be born. So they said, sorry, you can't be here, your job's gone. So anyway, I had an emergency cesarean, which also is a major surgery. And I have read about this as well. That can really affect your body. And a lot of women get postnatal depression because of having such a huge operation, and it really affects your body and your mentally as well. So anyway, that was one of the larger events, and I remember just being quite stressed out. We had to pack up. We had no money.
Brand new baby
that was premature. It was Christmas time. We didn't have much money we didn't really have any money for presents or anything. My brother had to actually drive over to Port Lincoln, where we had to leave our daughter with a very good friend of mine and get her and bring her across. It was just a really full-on time. And I think as I came out of that, I didn't realise, but I had what they probably call the baby blues, but kicked off into a depression.
Yeah.
But I guess I sort of didn't really know until a doctor actually said, "Well, I think you've got postnatal depression." So anyway, I'm a bit of a person that I don't dwell on things. I just like, all right, how do we move forward? Got to keep going. You know, you got kids, as we all do. Something happens, you just got to keep going. I don't dwell on it, and I just want to get better. So I just proceeded to push on, and I'm like, okay, it'll go away. So I kind of ignored it. You just get into life. Again, really awesome, supportive husband, super happy in my marriage and my life with my kids, and you just get on with it. But I think over a period of time again, you know, life was good, and then we'd moved again and I had another baby, and she was a twin, and I lost the twin early in utero. They were when they're in two different sacs, so they're not identical.
Yeah.
So what happened is I kind of miscarried the twin, and that's how I found out I was pregnant. We were trying at the time. Well, sorry, I'll back that up. We were going to try, but I was still on the Depra injection.
Oh, okay.
So the doctor was like, you can't be pregnant. You're on the Depra injection. I went for a scan when I started to miscarry, and they're like, oh, my gosh, you're pregnant with twins. So anyway, they said, you're going to lose the other twin. So
that's an emotional roller coaster in itself, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you didn't think you could get pregnant. Suddenly you're pregnant with twins, but you're losing one, but one's healthy, but you didn't think you were getting pregnant.
Just all of what
like
you've
that
said.
is just a roller coaster.
Having the Lauren Young, Osha, premature, and now Amber was a twin. Like just those, you're going to talk about so much, but just those three things, or just one of those things, actually.
Yeah.
But those three things is
very
so
traumatic.
much, very traumatic.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you just pushed on. You didn't dwell on any of it. You just pushed on. You were happy. You had your kids. You had your husband. You just pushed on. But now that you've just explained, and we were there for all of those three things. But when you talk about that like that, like, whoa, that was a lot.
You don't understand the weight of it.
So you've had three children, and every experience has been so different, and every experience there's been some some difficulties. So over months we actually were thinking we were going to lose her, and I guess they were sort of preparing us for. I had to go to the Adelaide Women's and Children's at one point because they're like, yeah, you're going to lose your baby, and then I managed to hold on. But every time they scanned to see her, I would get them to scan the other sac, even though mentally I knew that baby was gone, and you could actually see it breaking down, which was pretty hard to also see because they couldn't do anything because I had the other baby. So that just
so they can't do the sweep or
I was so intent on keeping her safe, but also I just wasn't grieving the other side of it. It was full on. As the pregnancy went on, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I'll be able to keep her. Anyway, I can't really remember at the time what our financial status was because, with everyone, we have your ups and your downs. And I think we weren't too bad at that time, like everyone, big periods of time where everything's great, works great, and then, we've all talked about
shit happens.
Shit happens. So that wasn't so much a factor at this time, but keeping the baby was. So anyway, again, got to full term. She was only a couple of weeks premature, and that's nothing these days. 2 to 3 weeks. The birth and everything was quite good until there's a cord wrapped around her head, and then when she was born, she wasn't breathing for a little bit, but she was fine. So I actually got pregnant in Adelaide, and in that time moved full pregnant all the way to Western Australia. Took the kids on the
that's crazy
on the train.
and the air conditioning broke down, actually.
Oh, my God. Of course it did. Why wouldn't it?
I was full pregnant.
What time of year is this?
It was summer.
February or March it would have been,
Oh,
isn't
my
it?
gosh.
Osha actually was really little and she got an ear infection on the train too and was screaming. Of course.
And then the trip back was pretty bad too, right? I remember.
So, anyway, that made me remember that little hellish trip over to Western Australia, as we've all had those.
That should have been a sign, by the way.
That's right. Yeah, so got over there and we lived there for about 3 years whilst Brett got further into his career, and he was flying in and out all over the world from Western Australia. And, look, it's a bit of a tough gig being solo with, by then, a teenager and 2 younger ones in a place that, wasn't super friendly. It was a bit cliquey for me. And again, I think I started to get a bit of depression back. There was some things personal that happened with family members that also was another factor that affected me. Then, so I started to get my depression back. I actually went to the doctor, and that time I did get medication. I wasn't a big fan of it. I was kind of a bit nervous. I didn't take it for long. I am so lazy when it comes. And it was a bit bad. I was hit and miss, and you're busy with kids and stuff, and kind of felt like it didn't really do much at the time. They give you like 10 meals or 20 meals, depending on it. I felt like it didn't really help much. So anyway, I kind of feel like I'm talking about negative stuff, but I'm not. I'm trying to. We've had so much good life in between, as everyone does. I guess I'm pointing out things that are stressful and triggers because I'm trying to talk more about the mental health side of things. Then we moved back. And we actually went across the Nullarbor with Gastro in the car.
Yeah, that's the return trip I was talking about. Oh, my gosh.
3 kids in a car with Gastro.
Across the Nullarbor.
Across the Nullarbor.
Oh, my gosh.
We actually got buckets and lined them with bin bags.
That's hell. That is hell.
We got to Sedona, I reckon it was late morning, and we rolled into a motel, because usually you can't check in till 2.
Yeah.
And we were like, please, we'll pay extra. And they felt that sorry for us that we just rolled into the motel room and just fell into beds and was taken to the toilet. It was horrendous.
You needed charcoal.
If only I had my witch doctor back then. But anyway, yeah. Funny little factors that you think, oh my gosh, how do we, like we all do have these experiences. Anyway, so then we came back and we had settled in a beautiful spot and we were near the beach, and again I had the kids and Brett would go away, and I just don't really know this time what triggered it, but I feel like it probably was I'd slipped a disc in my back in Western Australia, and for 3 years I was in agony. I slept sitting up. The kids actually called it the ramp. I would build a pillow ramp in the bed because I couldn't lay down for very long.
Gosh.
So 3 years I slept, or I'd get up and go into the lounge room, and Loz can probably attest to, she's got a really bad back pain. The pain, back pain, you just cannot get away from it. I feel so much empathy when people say they've got a really bad back, because it just affects your whole body. I'm not saying that an arm or a leg doesn't, but it just affects everything.
Well, everything runs off your spine, right?
All the nerve endings to your joints, your organs, everything. And, of course, it affects your mind. Anyway, so the
chronic pain is a major trigger.
And then again, we had some other things that were happening at the time, and I became very depressed. And this time it was so bad that I knew that I'm maybe a little bit in trouble. I couldn't just pull myself out of it. So I did end up on some fairly heavy medication, kind of zombied out.
Right.
I didn't feel anything. I kind of didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I just didn't sort of give a shit, which is not ideal. But it's kind of what got me through at the time. Then eventually I knew that was affecting my relationship, and I didn't want to. I wanted to be a mum and feel everything. I didn't want the kids to see me walking around like a freaking zombie. But at the time, that's what I was doing. So I did come off that. And then this is where Hills comes into place. At the time, she was doing online PT. So I got in contact with her and said, I need help. I'm depressed. I was a bit overweight at the time. I'm lucky. I haven't really struggled with my weight or anything over my life, but I just felt like crap and I was depressed, and I was like, can you do me a training program?
Medication can do that too, right? The antidepressants.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, for sure. So she did me a program, amazing. It was a 3-month program, and it was everything. Yeah, eating, your training, your everything. It was a bit of a routine. And we were a little bit broke at the time. Brett was changing jobs, and it was after the GFC, actually. So that affected his career, and knew what our situation was. So she built the program around not me having to go to the gym and pay gym memberships. Right, what have you got? Got a bike. I ended up getting a little trailer because Amber was still little at the time, so the others were at school. So you can go bike riding. And I did. I went bike riding a lot. And then what else have you got? I had just a few little things at home. I think they were weights. She designed the whole program around what I could do. I was a jogger. I ran for years, so good, go run on the beach. That's a bit more intense. So she did this program for me, and you know what I'm like when I commit to something. Also, she'd started out a business, and I was like, I can't pay for this. She goes, you know what? I'll do it for you. Of course, you don't need to pay me, but if you could just, do the program, and then maybe I can use your story, how they...
Like a before and after.
Yeah, like a before and after. Yeah, so I went, awesome. So did I commit. I was like to the T virtually. I think I got the flu once in the middle, and I was like, you can't train. And she's like, are you serious? It's okay. You can have a week off. But I was like, I know I need to get back out there. And she's like, no, you need to rest. Anyway, I was like, I'm doing this. I've got to see it right through to the end. And I did. And, man, I felt amazing.
You looked amazing.
Yeah. You've actually done it too, haven't you?
Yeah.
It was so good for the body and the mind, and I didn't have to be on any medication. I was so grateful. And Hills is amazing because part of the program's checking in. And of course, she's one of my best friends. It's great. She would check in, email me, how you going, Cass? How you feeling? So it was all a whole package deal, really, mentally. And Hills gets it with the mental health side. So mentally, physically, it was unreal. So that's how I learned that. And I want to be really careful here because this is just my story, and I want people to do whatever it takes if they're experiencing depression and mental health, whether that is take medication, go to a psychologist, see a doctor. I don't want to be advising people what to do, but I'm hoping that some of my story and my experiences can maybe help them make the best decisions for themselves.
And to know what other options there
are. So for me, I learned that side of things, the exercise and the eating right and the getting sleep and trying to do all the right things. The impact on my brain was far greater for me than the medication. So that inadvertently taught me how I can go forward with that. When I feel down, I know what to do. I've got to eat right.
Yeah.
I've got to exercise. So I've used that throughout my life, big time. Amazing tool. And
how old were you when you were in this part of your life?
30s.
Just to get a bit of a timeline.
Yeah, 30s.
In your 30s, okay.
Early, mid-30s, yeah.
Okay.
Early to mid-30s, yeah, because Amber was still young, yeah. So, yeah, I came out of that pretty good. It was a lot of hard work. And then life goes along again, many great years. We moved again. We moved up to North Queensland for about 14 to 15 years. Kids loved it up there. Brett and I loved it up there. We'd been up there when Lauren was really young, when he was in the Navy, and then he got out of the Navy and we had to leave. We moved around with his career and we always were like, we've got to go back there. We love Cairns. Like, so we did. We moved back. Lozzie actually was older, 18, you know, and move away from your boyfriend and your friends, and so she stayed there, and then the younger ones had come up, and so they lived a lot of that portion of their life in North Queensland, and it was a great place to bring up kids, and it was very outdoorsy, and it was outdoors a lot. So we had a great life up there. Then I guess the last sort of 3 years maybe to 4 years, this part is the tricky part.
Take your time.
Yeah, so look, it's very hard to navigate, and because I want to be very open and honest, but a lot of this has to do with also my husband, whom I love and respect, and a lot of this has to do with me, which I respect my privacy as well, and it also inadvertently affects my children. And it's not all about them, but some things that have obviously happened in that time that as a family and as a couple, it's affected us. And so I guess I'm going to have to try and explain the last 4 years without going into our personal lives.
Yep.
But what I'm going to say is that it's been extremely challenging. I love my husband very much. As people know, we are no longer together. I thought that he was going to be my soulmate to the end of time. And it has been a most excruciating thing of my life to go through. It's obviously been very painful for my children as well. And over the last few years, obviously, been so, I guess, so intense, and something I could never have thought I would experience. So I guess the last probably 3 years, I'm going to talk about me. I've kind of spiraled because of everything that was going on personally with me and in my life, with my marriage coming to an end. It probably all came to a head last year, at the beginning of the year. I had a good job out on a mine site that I really liked, but I also yearned to come back to Adelaide. Every time I came back, I would see everyone, and when we used to come, we'd come and see everyone. You want to go back home. Love it, miss everyone, but you want to go back home. Started to become where I didn't want to leave. I felt that yearning to come back. So we were kind of planning on coming back, and yeah, we had many things happen, COVID, and we moved from Cairns. We moved down a little bit to the southern side, down to Bowen, and we were there for a few years. I got into mining and I had to take over being the main owner. I was in a mine out in the Bowen Basin, and I had some experiences out there in terms of some sexual harassment that was going on by a boss that was really affecting me, but I kept to myself because at the time I had to have this job and I just needed to get through. So that was very stressful at the time, and I ended up getting to another mine site on Groote Eylandt up north, which was amazing. Best job, I loved it. Great crew. Mind you, my crew before, a lot of them were amazing. I loved my crew before. They were great people as well. A lot of them didn't know what was going on. So I left and went to this other mine, and it was great, but I still had that yearning to come back. So at the time, there was a lot going on in the background in my personal life, and I didn't realise that I was slipping and that I was probably going back down into that dark hole. I was trying to hold my husband up and inadvertently falling down myself because he was experiencing a lot at the time. He had a lot to deal with. So I kind of just ignored things and just kept pushing forward. When I look back, I was so exhausted mentally and physically that I was sometimes had the worst anxiety before getting there. I loved where I worked. I loved everything I was doing, but, it's pretty stressful. You're working 12.5-hour days, and I was on big machinery. I was driving dump trucks, and you've got to be alert. You've got to have your wits about you. I'm like, I need this job. And again, we had a lot going on, and I just remember this period of time where I was just like, I have to keep going. I have to. There's no choice. And I just kind of pushed through. So then what happened is, I think the universe does work in mysterious ways, as they say. I was just about to get what they call a shirt, which means you're directly employed by the mine.
Not contracted.
Yeah,
so before you were contracted.
I was contracting. To get onto Groote Eylandt, I took a contractor's job, took a pay cut from my other mine to get out there, because once you get out there and you get a shirt, then you're on great money. So I actually was going to get a shirt. And that week, my boss actually brought me in, said, doing a great job. And so then at the end of that swing, actually, it was 2 days out from leaving, and I was in a pre-start, and I got excruciating pain. So I got up out the pre-start and went out and buckled. A few people come out because they'd seen me, and they ended up calling the medics. So I got amboed off-site. Then they took me to the medical facility there, and they were talking about medevacing me off to Darwin because they didn't know what was going on. I'm pretty good with pain. That was pretty excruciating.
Yeah.
I've had babies and, yeah. Anyway, so they just looked after me, and I got the next flight out in the morning, got to Cairns. They did some tests, sent me off for a scan, and they said, we think you had a kidney stone. So then next day or two, I get a phone call, and we start getting all these pictures. Groote Eylandt's being hit by a huge cyclone.
Crazy.
And
crazy events.
I'm looking at these photos, and I went, I'm fucked. My job's gone. Sorry. I'm trying not to swear.
You've done so well so far.
I was expecting F-bombs right through this.
I'm like, oh no, I've lost my job. And people are like, no, Cass, it's going to be fine. No, because half the mine was full of water. Part of the wharf collapsed. I knew straight away all the contractors, if they don't have to pay us, they're going to be gone. And then I was getting more information and more information. Anyway, then I rang my contracting company, and they wouldn't give me any information, but I knew they knew. The writing was on the wall. So lost my job. Things had come to a head with me personally, but also in saying that, I was very determined to turn everything around. With Cairns, it's very hard. It's very transient. To get good money, what I'm trying to say, you have to do FIFO or other things. And I knew I'm months off, or weeks and weeks, getting another mining gig. I'll get one because there was plenty around at the time, but there's an onboarding process and it takes a long time. And we didn't have that time factor. So I need to get working. So I think I'd rung you, taking that time, and you said, we've got some contacts for you. I'll just get to maybe Adelaide and start working.
Because we'd already got your girls down there.
Yeah, I was thinking that before when you were saying
years.
you had that yearning to come back to Adelaide. I was going to just say all your girls were living here by then, weren't they? Or two of them? Two of them.
Yeah.
You still had Amber with you, but two of them were living here.
Yeah, that's right.
Amber was toying with coming down there, wasn't she?
Yeah. Yep.
So I guess also too, without getting too personal, I really needed to keep the ball rolling and keep things on track and earn money. I thought, okay, I've got to jump in the car, and I had been for a walk on the beach, and I had an intense moment where at the time I didn't have any faith anymore. And I was like, I just need to know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I just got some kind of message, just get in the car and go, get in the car and go, get in the car. Of course, I didn't want to leave my husband. I loved him. We were, yes, having some difficult times, but we were both really lost at the time and really struggling, both of us. So I just thought, if I can get down, get working, and then just continue, like maybe we can both get this sorted. So I jumped in the car, come down. I think I drove for 17 hours. I was just in a blur. Got just outside Brisbane, stopped, slept in my car in a truck stop for a couple of hours. I was wired. At the time, I think mentally I was quite fucked up.
Yeah.
But not realising.
You were pretty depleted, let's say that.
Yeah. So anyway, I eventually got here. I think it took 3 days. I had a stopover at a girlfriend's and then got here, slept in my car all the way. We need to make sure we can keep the ball rolling here. Got here, amazing. Everyone just opened up their doors. I stayed with a family who were amazing to me. I'm not going to say heaps names because they know who they are anyway, just in case people don't want, So amazing. Opened up their doors, gave me a place to stay. I was working and I was labouring actually. It was pretty hard yakka, I'm not young. Just out there all laughing.
But you're fit.
Yeah. You're a hard worker. And you're a hard worker. Harder than most young people.
It was a dead winter coming from Cairns, man. Wow.
Yeah, what a shock.
Oh, yeah.
And she used to say, I want to move back. I'm like, are you sure? Come and do a winter in Adelaide and see if you still want to move back.
So I think at the time, though, too, I was quite depleted. I didn't realise how depleted. I think also, obviously, being away from my husband, I was missing him like crazy. And I think I had really started to grieve, but also with the high expectation that I could sort myself out and he could do what he needs to do and we come back together. That didn't happen and things really fell apart. So this is, I missed a lot out in between, obviously. So this is where it gets pretty full on for me. I basically full bottomed out. I imploded and then I probably externally exploded. I mainly imploded. When it's happening, you can't really share with people how bad you feel. I think it got to a point where obviously it was quite evident with everyone, but I think when with the series of events, and I look back over it now, you lose your job, your marriage is gone, falling apart, you're broke, your kids are hurting, you're thinking, what the fuck? I'm 50. This is just, my whole life has fallen apart. And, I'm at the pinnacle of it. I'm at the helm. And I just was so lost and so depleted. And my worth was I actually had none. I remember, sorry, I'm trying to keep it together.
You don't need to keep it together.
I remember waking up and thinking, you just have to get out of bed. You have to keep the ball rolling. at the time, we had bills to pay still. I remember laying on the floor at 4:30 in the morning in my work clothes, just bawling my eyes out, thinking, I just cannot fucking do this. But I got up and I went to work and I pushed through another day. And then it got to a point where I think, I'm fucking crazy. Like, I actually started to think I'm mental. I don't feel right. I can't function properly. I'm making some decisions I wouldn't normally make. I just see no way out. So I remember I was actually working near Glenside at the time, like literally just down the road, and there was 2 times that I drove down to Glenside and I sat out the front of Glenside and thought, just fucking check yourself in. And I thought, I'm going to go in there and I will be heavily medicated because that's what they do, and become a zombie, and just not, what's that going to achieve?
And you'd already been there before in that zombie state.
Yeah. So I thought that's not a way out. So I just kind of continued on. Again, things were just, I just couldn't get it together. I couldn't work. It got to a point where I'm like, I left the job I was doing, and look, it's very hard too, because these are, even going back to this, it's extremely, was such an extremely stressful time in my life that I've you actually lose parts of your memories.
I was thinking it's probably a bit of a blur. So for you to try and piece it out and in a timeline, that whole time really was such a blur.
But that's to protect yourself as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't really, I'm trying to speak about this in a timeline, like you said, that it's very hard. I'll probably jump around a bit. But so I went away and came back, and there was a series of events happen, and thinking back now, probably ended up, I was at the start of a nervous breakdown maybe, and again, I just seemed to try and push through these things, but this time it was different to anything like I'd experienced. And I almost went into like a catatonic state. At the time I rang Tina and she said, you sound weird. You need to just get on the plane and come home. So I did. I got on the plane and came home. I can't really remember much of it, except for I thought I just got to get back there. And then I just got to get back there, get my things in order, and and just fucking end this fucking thing. Yeah. So,
so your intention,
my intention
on the way home was to finish.
And and you picked her up from the airport.
I did.
So did you know that was her intention?
Yep.
Because you called me, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'd never seen her like that.
No. Because you said, have you spoken to Cassie? And I said, I've sent her a message, but she hasn't replied. But my message was basically, hey, how's it going up in Cairns? Hope you're having a good time when you're coming home. So no wonder she didn't reply.
Yeah, she was catatonic.
Yeah, and then that's
you
what
were
you
not
said.
there.
Your words were
Cassie
like,
was gone.
I don't know what's going on. She was catatonic, and I'm really worried about her.
So,
but we didn't know it was.
So
I didn't know it was that bad.
No.
didn't know Tina was picking me up from the airport. I can't remember how I was going to get home.
I spoke to one of your daughters and said, very happily, oh, Mum's coming back today. He's like, who's picking her up? Oh, I'm not sure. Okay, no worries. What flight's she on? I'm getting to
I
the
love
airport.
that you did that.
Yeah. there was a pull to do that because she sounded so weird on the phone. I knew there was something wrong.
Yeah. So I can't remember that flight at all.
No.
I actually was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I just can't remember that flight, except for I remember the intention was so strong. I do remember getting to the other side and I saw Tina waiting for me. And I was mad.
You were mad.
I was really mad.
Yeah.
And
because I ruined your plans.
I wasn't really, I just was mad. I was super mad. And she drove me back. I actually had a house sit at the time. I do house and pet sitting. And I'd already, it happened to be I got back just the day before it, I think, or was it? No, the day off that I was supposed to start, which is a crazy timing. So I got there and then I'm like, shit, that's right. I've now got dogs to look after and a pet sit and a house sit that I've committed to for really wonderful people. Okay, I'm going to have to do this somehow. And then once that's done, then I can sort it. So I went there and I think I bullshitted to Tina and said someone was there. I think she said, is one of the girls coming? I think actually, this is a blur. Ocean may have come that night or one of my daughters came that night and stayed with me. And I am very good at hiding stuff. So
you also had to work for me, remember?
Yeah, that's right. I'm getting to that.
Yeah, so you couldn't hide away.
I was committed to also helping Tina at the time, and I needed the work. And
so
Tina
you were in that
help.
state, the worst state, and you're like, oh, but I've got a house sit and I've got these dogs. And I've got to work for Tina.
I can't let Tina down.
Yeah, that's so you.
So you, but that's your saving grace. That's why you're here with us today.
Yes.
So I had a few people that maybe have switched on to something's not right. Now that week, it's really hard to explain what kind of state you're in. I can only explain it as if you're in a virtual reality, like I was in like some kind of a trancey kind of, you're just going through all the motions. And I'm not talking just, when you're exhausted or I was on a different planet. Like I just was just piecing and just putting enough together to go and do stuff and get, my shit done for that day. I was looking after the dogs fine. I could take care of the house. I went to work, but I was not in a good space at all. I was extremely, I was almost catatonic. Like I just was in this dream state, and the only thing I could keep thinking is get this done, and then you can just you can just make this stop. You can be at peace.
Am I right in saying that we're pretty much at 12 months since all this happened? Because I'm thinking, because you were helping me in the lead up to Christmas
period, because she was at,
and you went away just before, and I was like, we were really busy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I actually think we're pretty much
it's
at
nearly
12
a year.
months.
Yeah,
nearly
right.
a year.
So I went into work for Tina one morning, and that morning I actually nearly didn't go.
Was that in Marion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was in Westfield,
actually.
Okay. We were making.
In Westlake, yeah.
I don't think I actually could have gone in public. Lucky I was making for Tina out the back. That morning I was like, I just can't. I can't. I just was like, I just cannot keep going. And I obviously hadn't told anyone to the point that what was going on inside my brain. You don't want to, because someone might do something about it. And you're just not thinking. Anyway, you just like, I need to just get this over with somehow. And I did go in. I was like, I can't. This sounds crazy, but this one little thing, you just can't let it down. Just get another day's work done. And I I went in there and I was starting to make and get stuff organised, and I was in trancey. No, it was almost like you're numb, or you are numb. And Tina came in and, I'm going to get emotional. I've never seen her face like that before. And she said, Cass, I'm so worried about you. And I just hugged her and I said, I know. That's all I could say, because I couldn't relieve her stress, her worry, because I knew she had switched on to maybe what was going on a bit, but I still didn't say, hey, my God, yeah.
I did know, and that's why I was so worried.
And Tina's so, she's so strong, and so is Loz, and I've just never seen her face like that. And going forward then kind of just pushed through that week a bit. There was, I think, a little bit instigation in the background. Another friend come and stayed with me. I did get a bit good at bullshitting. I a few times said, yeah, I've got someone coming to stay with me, but I didn't. Now that week I had, and I'm not going to go into it now, I had some really full-on things happen. You could say spiritually. I'm not going to go a lot. I'm not going to start going into that.
We've got a whole episode about that.
So I got through that. That was a very bizarre week for me in terms of I've never felt like that in my life. And, yeah, it's something it's very hard to explain. I got to probably nearly towards that end of that week, and I was driving home one day and it felt so strange. It felt like a bit of a brain snap. It's hard to explain. And I went actually into a bit more of a different level. And I was like, I drove straight home from work and I drove straight into a chemist and walked into the chemist and bought a shit ton of medication, went home, wrote some letters. Part of it too, was like, at the time, your pain and suffering is so intense that it overshadows what pain and suffering you might cause for other people by you not being there anymore. It's such an intense feeling that it just cancels out everything else. But you still have these threads of, I need to explain for my kids, so maybe they won't be so pissed off or sad that I've done this. Maybe they'll get, I try and explain how bad I'm hurting and how much of the mental hell that I'm in, they might forgive me. And the same as you girls, and the same as, my loved ones and my little sister and, other people that I care about. But I just was in such deep despair that I just had to, just in my brain, there was no way out. There was no way out. So anyway, that got foiled again. I'll go into that more later. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit because I feel like we're going to have to do this over a few episodes. Got to the point where every time that I had a plan, something or someone, sorry, Loz, fucked it up.
It's okay. I'm glad they did.
Which, obviously is good.
Well, it's the universe, isn't it?
That's right. So then moving forward, I had another event then happen, ground zero, even more. I ended up this time at Lauren's house. I drove around for 6 hours trying to find somewhere that no one would find me. And that kept getting, there's events I'll talk about later that didn't happen. And then the instinct in my body just went, drive to Lauren's. So I drove to Lauren's, and again, this time I said it out loud. Lauren was at the door I rocked up. She didn't, I don't think she knew I was coming. I can't remember.
No, I didn't.
And she met me.
I just opened the door and saw you standing there. I was like, this is really bad.
We came into her house and I just said to Lauren, I don't want to be here. And she burst into tears. And she's like, please don't say that. But I think I actually had said it. This time I said it out loud. There's a lot in that day that we won't go into that's private for my family. And I ended up, Lauren was with me for a while and we talked about where I was going to stay that night. And
I said, you're staying here, you're not going anywhere, you can't drive. But she said, I just want to be with my sister. I really need to see my sister.
But this time I knew that I couldn't be left alone. Yeah. So Lauren had talked to my sister.
I pulled ahead.
And made sure. And I knew.
But then this is what I don't understand. But you insisted that you'd be okay. And I said, no, I'll follow you. And you said, no, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I called your sister. I said, she's on her way. Please text me the second she gets there. And I'm thinking it's about 20, 30 minutes. Please text me as soon as she gets there. And then you drove off. And then I just burst into tears. I'm like...
And then you rang me, I think. Yeah.
Why did I just let her drive off? I need to go. I don't need to go and follow her. And then I went into the house and just broke down. And, anyway, my family, what's the matter? I'm like, I think I've just made the biggest mistake. And I was calling you and I was calling your sister, but no one was answering. And I was calling you. Oh, my God, this is all my fault. Anyway... She called me eventually. And I just don't think either of you were in a position to make a phone call right away or a text right away. But it was like, it was a horrible day for everyone.
But it was, I think though too, though I realised actually said it out loud. This time it was arranged. I kind of probably had a little bit more of a different persona. I was driving to you knew I wanted to be. I just kept saying I want to be with my sister.
Yeah, but you said, you don't come. What didn't you know? You said, don't come, I'll be all right,
Which I meant. And I
believed you. Yeah. I did believe you.
And I did drive straight to my sister's, and that's where I fell apart again. She basically put me in a bed and basically fed me and stayed with me and for days just looked after me while I fell apart. And I remember laying on the floor in the spare room, and I was like, at that time I was just so grieving so hard. I was like, how do I move through this? The cat was out the bag. Everyone that was super close to me, you girls, knew that I was not in a great place and shouldn't be on my own. And I was like, all right, this is happening now. I can't put it back in Pandora's box. So I laid on the floor and I was like, if I fucking survive this. You, use me or let it be for a purpose so I can help other people maybe not have to go through this, or make other loved ones aware that it's not their fault. And, if they've lost people, or that, it's just something that's such a, I can't even find the words. It's something that, is so personal, and it's just only that person can deal with. And I think what happened then is, after that, I knew that obviously the only person that can help me is me. But not only that, now I had support. I did have support, and there was some relief. I couldn't hide it, and it wasn't all on my shoulders, so to speak. I mean, it was still my burden, and it was still me, and I still was the only person that could, I could just kind of piece myself back together with my closest and dearest people that, knew what was going on, could just support me through it. And that's what it's all about. You can't fix that person. You can't make it better, but you can do all the things to just give them some strength and some love and some understanding. And I always, I'll never forget, though, just all the little things. It's the little things that make a massive difference. And I remember even my sister saying to me, Cass, I don't give a fuck what you have or haven't done. I just love you and want you to be all right. And, we know who you are, and, we're just going to support you. So, yeah, I feel like this is going to go on for so many hours, and we're going to, but going forward then it's a long journey, and I can talk about that and how I kind of rebuilt to where I am now, which is really good. I'm in such a good place. There's a lot, obviously, that you girls will know, because you've been there right from ground zero right through to now. I've done a lot of work personally, and also had a lot of support. I guess the whole point of this is, one of the biggest takeouts is, I don't want anyone to, we need to speak up when you're in this state.
That was your turning point, wasn't it, when you decided to tell people what bad you happening.
Are. I guess for me, we're all like, we don't want to tell people when we're feeling like we're struggling, or we're like out of control, or because you have families, you have husbands, other, everyone's got things, and you don't want to burden them with that. But it doesn't have to be a burden. It's not a burden.
The alternative is a burden that will never go away.
Right,
it's a permanent solution for a temporary problem.
Exactly. And it didn't mean that you guys had to all stop your life and come and live with me 24/7.
We would have if we had to.
And I know you would have done that. I pretty well have lived with you, so almost 24/7. You guys are like, and it's been, your husband's been very patient. I've been at your places a lot, and staying with my sister and my brother-in-law, who's been amazing, and my little niece is around, and I've had a lot of family support, friends support, amazing people around me. Not everyone knows the full story, and to what point I got to, that I, almost wasn't here. And now I'm so grateful. I think one of the big things too that also drove me were my kids. There was times when I was like, I just need to hug them one more time. I just need to see them one more time, or I just need to know they're okay one more time. And that was also something that drove me to just, that kept me here a week or a day more. And, you girls and Julia and so many other people that I just needed to see again, and my little nieces, and,
those little things just kept me here for another week, another day, anyway, and a whole series of other events. It's so full on, but the takeout is I'm in such a good place. Your whole life can fall apart. You know, you can lose your job, your marriage, your finances, basically be homeless. Everything can go to shit on such a large scale, and you can get through it. You can come out on the other side and have a good life. I'm so grateful and happy, and I'm so fucking happy I'm still here. And if anyone's listening that, you know, feels this way or has felt this way or is standing there, I fucking beg you. I fucking beg you, please don't give up and speak out, reach out, because you'll get to the other side. It doesn't matter what's happened. You will get to the other side, and there is so much life to live and so many people that care about you. Please just reach out. We need to start speaking out, and we need to say when we're not okay and we're not doing all right, because the alternative is forever. So I just beg you, if you're listening and this reaches you and you've either been there or you are feeling this way, it can be okay and you can come out on the other side. And, you know, if I can help in any way, reach out. It's so intense and there's so much that I haven't covered. I'm also working on some other things that helped me through this whole journey to get to the other side. And, well, there's so much to unpack. I feel like there's going to be quite a few episodes.
I think we might have a 10-episode series.
Yeah. And this has been a long one, so I'm...
But this was really important. You need to get that out, and now you can start sharing some of the tools and things that you did that are going to help.
Yeah,
but you can't do that without doing this, unfortunately. Or fortunately.
Absolutely. So, it's intense, and I, you know, just am super grateful that I'm here to be able to talk about it. And I'm super passionate about helping other people in any way. Like I said, this isn't a story for anything but to help other people. And,
Amazing.
You're amazing.
You are amazing. You're so strong.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, girls. I literally, it's just, there's no words to tell you how pinnacle you've been in all of this to get me to where I am now, and other people, you know. There's no words. You're the pillar of strength. And also, you know, this is another thing, this podcast came around a time that I really needed something to focus on and really needed to look forward to. And also my business, which we'll talk about, which got developed or came to life before it all went to total shit. So that's been... That
was a good distraction.
It was, yeah.
We'll go it kind of delayed everything.
Yeah, that's right. Another delay.
Everything has happened for a reason, hasn't it?
Which has taken a huge hiatus while I've got myself back together.
You'll be back bigger and better than ever.
So that's, we'll talk about that. It's not all about, this stuff, but I will talk about my business as well that's going to be relaunched. So that's something I'm really looking forward to.
Same.
Anyway, I love you both so much, and thank you for getting me through this podcast.
We love you so much.
Love you, Cass. You're awesome.
All right. Love you guys.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Bye.
I'm just going to finish off with a mantra that I wrote for myself. The universe has its plan for all of us, whatever it is, we can't fight it. It is what it is. Soul contracts and previous lives are made. We have no control over that. I now live from day to day at peace and with no expectation, just grateful for the people and things that are positive in my life. I have no control over the future. I just try to be the best version of myself, work on the things I want to change or improve. I try to build on my self-worth and try to help others where I can. We are all imperfect, just trying to navigate an intense but beautiful world.
Thanks for listening to the live chat. We don't want to offend anyone. We're not experts. We're just talking about personal opinions, and we want you to live your life and make your own decisions.
Kind of covers everything. Yeah, that's it.